Last week, a young man stood at my doorstep, holding an old, worn photograph. It showed two soldiers in heavy winter coats, standing shoulder to shoulder against a white Korean landscape, their faces cracked with tired smiles. His voice was soft, almost hesitant. "Grandpa Thomas, my mother always said you were the reason she could go to college. She said you kept a promise to my grandfather. I came to tell you, because of that promise, my sister is now a doctor, and I'm studying engineering. We wouldn't be here without you. My name is Thomas Reed. I am 86 years old." That photograph took me back to a frozen trench in Korea, February 1951, when I gave a promise I never expected to keep. We were holding a ridge in the bitter cold. Snow fell sideways, driven by wind that felt like broken glass. My closest friend in the platoon, Daniel "Danny" Hayes, lay next to me, his breathing ragged, a jagged piece of metal buried deep in his side from a mortar round. For months, we had shared everything: stale cigarettes, terrible C rations, letters from home we read to each other under the faint glow of the cigarette lighter. He had a wife in Chicago, two young children, a girl who had just started kindergarten, and a boy who sent him crayon drawings of tanks and airplanes. That night, he knew the end was close. He gripped my sleeve with fingers already cold. "Tom, if I don't make it, go to my family. Tell Sarah I love her. Tell the kids their dad was thinking of them. Promise me you'll help them. Help them grow up strong." I swallowed hard against the lump in my throat. "I promise, Danny. I swear. I'll go. I'll take care of them." He gave me one last weak smile, the same one he used when we were freezing and trying to make each other laugh. Then he was gone. I carried that promise back across the ocean like a stone in my chest. When I finally stepped off the train in Chicago, my own parents were waiting. But before I went home, I went to Danny's house. Sarah opened the door. She looked smaller than I remembered from the photographs. Her eyes filled the moment she saw me. I handed her his tags, his folded flag, the last letter he had written. I told her everything: how he laughed at my bad jokes, how he shared his last chocolate bar, how he talked about her smile every single day. She cried quietly. The children peeked from behind her legs, too young to understand death, but old enough to feel the hole he left. From that day, I became part of their world. I wasn't rich. My army pay was modest, but I gave what I could. I fixed the furnace when it broke in winter. I walked the boy to school on days Sarah had to work double shifts. I helped the girl with her reading, sitting on the living room floor while she sounded out words, just like Danny would have wanted. Years went by. The girl, Emily, dreamed of becoming a nurse. College was expensive. I sold my father's old fishing boat, the one thing I had left from my own youth, and used the money to help with her tuition. She hugged me so tight, I thought my ribs would crack. "Uncle Tom, I don't know how to thank you." I told her, "You thank me by living the life your dad wanted for you. That's all." She did. She graduated, became a pediatric nurse, married a kind man. The boy, Michael, was quieter. He wanted to open a small auto repair shop. Banks laughed at his application. I went with him, signed as guarantor, talked to the manager until they approved the loan. Today, he owns 3 shops and employs 20 people. He still sends me a Christmas card every year with a photo of his kids. Decades later, Emily's oldest daughter, the same young man who came to my door, finished medical school last spring. He became a surgeon. When he called to invite me to his graduation, I could barely speak. I sat in the auditorium, old me's aching, watching him walk across the stage. Afterward, he found me in the crowd, bent down, and said quietly, "Grandpa Tom, my mother always told me the story. Because you kept your promise to Grandpa Danny, she could study. Because of her, I could study. My kids will go to college too. You didn't just keep a promise. You built our whole future. Tears ran down my face in front of everyone. He just held my hand like I was still the young soldier who carried his grandfather home in a promise. Now I sit here, old and slow, looking at that same photograph on my mantle. Danny and me, frozen in time, young and full of plans. He never came home, but he lives in Emily's hospital shifts, in Michael's workshops, in the steady hands of his great-grandson holding a scalpel. We think promises are big, dramatic things. They aren't. A promise is showing up when it's inconvenient, giving when you have almost nothing left, remembering when the world has moved on. If you are young, hear this from an old man who has seen too many winters. Make promises. Keep them, even when it hurts, even when no one is watching, because one kept promise can echo through decades and touch lives you will never see. If these words stirred something in you, please share this story. In the comments, tell me, who in your life kept a promise that changed everything? Subscribe if you want to hear more simple truths from someone who has lived long enough to know what really lasts. I still have a few left to tell. Thank you for listening. God bless you, and breathe deep.